Hello, this is Eric the LonePineWolfman with an announcement before the video today. Blop is a Fish is the winner of the Assassin's Creed Odyssey giveaway. Congrats to Blop.
Look at what you've done to us. Look at us! We live like animals, scrabbling in the dirt.
Well, violence isn't the answer.
Maybe you live in a different America than we.
Men like Vanderlint will lead you to disaster.
I think we've already experienced disaster. The likes which you could only imagine.
Alright, so we only got to see some Native American elements and people in the first Red Dead Redemption, which took place in 1911. Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place in 1899, so will we see a greater presence of Native Americans in the game? We might for some gameplay sake, but even at this time, most of the major tribes and groups were on reservations already. But while the major gameplay we see is based around robberies and the Native American elements may be more of a side focus than a major aspect of the game, I still feel that there is some understanding and history that can be found. And while American Indian groups spanned all the way across what would become the United States, we will focus mainly on those of the West during the late 1800s that the Americans would encounter. In the first game, those in Dutch's gangs were renegades, a term used by the US military for supposedly rebellious Native Americans who left the reservation. Nah, it couldn't be because it was crap to live there and they were trying to destroy any last vestige of Native culture, they were just rebellious, says the US government at the time. Anyway, we haven't seen any more gameplay or trailer footage for a while now, and especially nothing really on Native Americans for the most part, except for Charles Smith. There is no mention of his background yet, but due to his necklace and the style of his hair and this picture of him with a bow and arrow, Rockstar might be hinting that the character might at least be part American Indian. Well, thanks to Hollywood, whenever someone hears the term Native American, they automatically think of the Plains Indian, or the indigenous people of the Great Plains. And while these tribes' fame and fascination are well deserved, they do not seem to be the tribes depicted in Red Dead Redemption. The tribal members of Dutch's gang had a certain look about them, at least for one small mission when we got to see everybody up close at the Bear Claw camp. The style of dress that the gang wore was reminiscent of the southwestern Native American groups. The Utes, Navajos, Zunis, Hopis, and Yumas, all tribes of the Southwest. And although there was a region in Red Dead named Great Plains in the West Elizabeth region, those of Dutch's gang resembled another famous southwestern tribe, the Apache. The Apache peoples migrated into the southwest into what today would be parts of Arizona and New Mexico, southern Colorado, and northern Mexico, sometime around the 1400s by estimation. They fought other tribes, the Spanish, then the Mexicans, and finally the Americans. They were one of the last tribes to be placed on the reservations, and were a foe that the US Army had no idea how to deal with. The US Army had figured out how to subdue the Plains tribes by shooting their horses and encouraging the killing off of the buffalo, which crippled many of the Plains tribes into eventual submission due to their dependence on the animal. The Apache lived in a rough area though, away from much of the plains, and didn't have the same reverence for the horse or buffalo as many of the Plains tribes did, and they were amazing fighters. Able to strike and seemingly disappear into thin air amongst the rocky crags and desert of the Southwest, they turned out to be one of the most difficult and unpredictable opponents the Army would face in the West. And just a historical side note, the famous medicine man and warrior Geronimo was an Apache of the Badalkahe group. The US Army eventually found a tactic that did work, using other Apache as scouts to seek out the more hostile groups. Why would they do this? Because Apache were not just one tribe, they were many groups, and sometimes were at odds with one another. So, to get the upper hand on their neighbors, some allied with the US. Some even joined in the hopes that their group would avoid harsh treatment by the US if they helped track down those causing trouble. Others tried being allies at first, but then turned after realizing the racist treatment they received, and many left the holding areas and early reservations to live free and to fight the US invaders. As I said, most Native Americans would be on reservations at the time of Red Dead Redemption 2, and those off it were probably individuals or small groups. Those that John fights in the first Red Dead are those who left, the renegades. Angry and mad at a world that isn't their own, Dutch's anti-authority stance probably provided a way to vent their frustration. We see Arthur using a bow and a canoe, so I doubt we've seen the last of Native American elements in the game series. But just how far to an extent we will see, we don't know yet. Rockstar hasn't given us much to go on, but perhaps we'll see a younger Nastas, or see the harsh life of what it means to be living on a reservation system. The reason I say that is that Outlaws sometimes fled to reservations or to Oklahoma at the time, which was known as Indian Territory, to escape law enforcement. But what do you guys think? Should the Native American aspects hinted in the game be more prominent? Or is there another tribal culture you would like to know more about? This is Eric the LonePineWolfman, and if you liked the video, please click that like button and subscribe for more content. Be sure to check out my next Red Dead video on the types of towns in the West. And remember gamers, never stop learning.